Hi guys, and welcome to the second part of my blog, in which I'm giving you a few of my opinions on some of the subjects raised on the group so far. Today I'd like to give you an idea of some of the things I have experienced with regards to London transport. For this part of the blog I'm going to do two things. One, I'm going to read to you from an article that I wrote a few years ago and placed on my MySpace page called On the Buses with London Transport. And secondly, I'm going to see if my opinion has changed in the years since I wrote that article regarding the condition of London transport in general. And also, I'd like to get your opinion on whether you feel that the situation has improved for people who use wheelchairs or walking aids, etc. So, here goes. As a disabled person, I could write about so many things that annoy me when travelling in London. For example, the fact that there are no lifts in about 98% of London's train stations. Also, because I'm a wheelchair user, I can't use the Underground. Not that any of us like the idea of being squashed together like a tin of sardines, but it would be nice to be able to use the service. Also, even though the law has now changed and it states that all shops must have wheelchair access, they don't. I was in my local high street today, and I must say that out of about 50 shops, there was only one or two that I could actually get my wheelchair into. Now, don't get me wrong, over the last few years there have been many improvements to London transport, even though we're still about 10 years behind the US. A few examples of this are low-floor buses and trams, and of course both the taxi card and capital call car schemes. And not forgetting London Dial-A-Ride, and there are even ramps on most of London's buses now, which is great. However, this is where my problems lie. The idea of having a ramp on a London bus is great. It allows disabled people like myself to get around a lot easier. Three main problems with that one though. Many of the drivers on London's buses don't know how to operate them. So I have to explain a lot of the time how to do it. It's not right that I should be the one telling drivers how to operate their own machinery. I was under the impression that drivers were trained on how to operate such ramps, but I must be mistaken. The ramps have a tendency to break down. If I told you about the number of times they'd broken down on me, you would think I was pulling your leg. And of course, not forgetting that when the buses do break down, the drivers very rarely have the right equipment. But what really winds me up is when the ramp does come out, I get on and the bloody thing won't go back in again. This can often be remedied by the driver switching everything off and restarting. This resets the system, it's called isolating. But that does not always work. In this case, it means people have to get another bus. This in itself is a pain, but not my main gripe. I asked a driver once if there was any way, if switching off the bus and the electronics etc. didn't work, of bringing the ramp in manually. His answer was yes, but they're not obligated to carry the key that they would need to do so. I know from personal experience how it can often feel that you're in the way on one of London's buses, and when things like that happen, you can be made to feel really, really small and embarrassed. So for something as simple as a tiny key for manual override of the ramp, it's not asking a lot, is it? So has the situation improved since I wrote that article? Yes and no. I can now use my chair on certain routes of the London Underground, as they are slowly bringing into service carriages that have wheelchair spaces. Regarding lifts at stations, yes, there's been a slight improvement in that over the last 4 years, but a lot of the time the lifts themselves have to be unlocked by a member of staff, and if the staff aren't there to unlock them, I'm still stuck on the wrong side of the platform. Shopping in London. I have to be honest and say not a great deal of improvement there. Yes, I do see the odd ramp appearing here, left, right and centre, but when I actually get into the shop, the aisles are normally so crammed full of stuff that I can't get round anyway. And as for London buses, well yes, there has been a marginal improvement in access and so forth, but the ramps still break down, curbs are too high, the sensors are too sensitive, the drivers still often don't know that they should isolate the bus if something goes wrong, and I've noticed on my local bus route that I often get forgotten about. You see, the bus terminates close to my home. The driver will come to the end of the route, forgetting that I've gotten on the bus. He'll come to the end of the route, switch the engine off, the lights will go off and everything. And I have to shout out, "Can I have the ramp, please, mate?" And he goes, "Oh, sorry, mate, I forgot about you." But then, I know people will probably think, "Oh, you're just sitting here moaning, blah, 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 blah." But, well, I'm not. Because we do get forgotten about. All too often, we get forgotten about. And no, we don't want to be segregated or anything like that. But we want to be acknowledged. And there's nothing wrong with that, is there? As I finish this blog and prepare for the last one in the series, I'd like to take this opportunity to encourage you to visit our discussion boards and give your opinion on this issue, whether it's disabled access in general or a specific issue. You know what they say, a problem shared is a problem halved. So please go to the discussion boards and tell us your story. Good or bad, we don't care. We just want you to know that there is someone here who is willing to listen to you.